Okay, 2.2, B as in boy, college algebra, continuing on with complex numbers, and we are middle of page 197, conjugates and division. All right, so a conjugate, if you remember, we did this just a little while ago. If we have an imaginary or a complex number and we want to multiply it by its conjugate, everything stays the same except the sign between the real and the imaginary part. And what that does, just to remind you, is you use the FOIL method to multiply those out, but what happens is the O and the I always cancel out, and all you have is the F and the L. So if you did that, you would just multiply the F, the first, and you'd multiply the second part, and put a minus sign between there, and that's it. Alright, so let's try a couple here. So example 5. And let me do say this: the product of a complex number and its conjugate will always be just a real number. Okay, the imaginary part will always disappear. So watch. So we'll multiply by its conjugate. We forget the O and the I. We just do the first, and then we do the last. And what happens here? That turns into a -1, right? Because I squared is -1. That's what happens. The imaginary part always goes away. Okay. And you get 74. So that's the nice thing about a conjugate with imaginary numbers, is the imaginary numbers always go away. Let's try 8i times -8i. We get -64. I times I is I squared, which is the same as -1. So I get a positive 64 for an answer. Now you're not always going to get a positive answer, but you will always get a real number answer when you do these. Okay, so let's do a bit of division. And this is where the conjugates really come in handy. 2 minus 5i divided by 1 minus 6i. Okay, so if we multiply the top by the conjugate of the bottom, or top and bottom, or if we multiply the top and bottom by the conjugate of the bottom. All right, let's just do the bottom first. First, 1 times 1 is 1. Last, 6 times 6 is 36i squared. And then we'll do that in a minute. So then this becomes 1 minus 36 times -1. 1 plus 36. So my denominator becomes a 37. Okay? So now what we have to do is multiply the top. So let's do this down here. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of all over the place. Maybe I should do it up there on top so it doesn't get so confusing. Alright, and because these are not conjugates, you're going to have to do the full-on FOIL method. First, outside, inside, last. So 2 plus 7i minus 30 times -1. So 2 plus 7i plus 30. So we get 32 plus 7i for our numerator, and we got a 37 for our denominator. Now, is that in, or 37, a plus bi form? No, it's not. So to put it that way, we have to split these up. So it's going to be 32 over 37 plus 7i over 37. It doesn't look nearly as pretty, but that is the correct way to write that. Okay? So, hope you don't have any questions about this. Shouldn't really give you too much trouble getting these imaginary numbers down. I kind of like imaginary numbers. And that's pretty much it. I'm looking at the homework assignments just to see if there's anything weird. You get down to 61 to 70, and you're just multiplying by the conjugates. You get into 71, 72, 73, 74. You're going to have a little bit more of a struggle with that, but I'm going to just kind of leave it to you to give it a shot, see what you come up with, and work on this. Don't just go to the book and find out how to do it. Spend some time trying to figure it out on your own. It's a lot more fun to get the right answer when you are able to do it on your own. All right, 75 through 84 shouldn't give you too much trouble because of the whole taking the exponent, divide it by 4, and then the remainder, like 77, I to the 35th power. 35 divided by 4 is 8 with 3 left over. So I to the third power is going to be the answer you're looking for. So I to the 35th power is the same as I to the third power, which is negative I. So anyway, other than having a little bit of trouble with 71 to 74, and other than that, I think you'll be okay. Okay, I feel kind of bad for 71 through 74, so let me give you some hints as you're going here. What was it? 71. Use the FOIL method. And don't forget that whenever you see an I squared, that's the same as negative 1. So that should help you out on 71. 72 is basically the same way. 73, you've got what? 4 minus 2i over 1 plus I. And you're adding that to 2 minus 5i over 1 plus I. Key thing right there, we have common denominators, so we can put all of these together. Okay, so that gives us 6 minus 7i over 1 plus I. Now, conjugate. Okay, that takes care of that. Let's see, at 73, 74 is the same way as 73. So that should get you going as far as doing those. So I just couldn't leave you without at least having some clues of what was going on there. And that's it for 2.2 B as in boy.